Hey, everybody. Yes, thank you so much. I'm Dylan. We have KT here in the chat. If you guys have any questions, sorry for the delay again. And today we're going to be making this great lamp with FolkArt Drizzle. So if you are new to our Michaels online community classrooms, we launched Drizzle with Michaels. It's a Michaels exclusive product that launched back in the spring around March. And we have been sharing a lot of different projects with FolkArt Drizzle ever since. And I'm really excited to bring this one to you today because this is a bit of a different project. If you're used to paint pouring, we're going to do kind of a new technique for you, which is going to be using a paint skin. So I didn't actually pour on this lampshade or this lamp. I poured into a pan first, a nonstick pan, and then I ended up placing that paint skin, as we call it, onto our lamp and on our lamp shade. So I'm going to kind of walk through everything that you need for this class. And we can go ahead and switch to overhead.
I'm on it.
I've got a bunch of different products here. And the first of which is going to be our FolkArt Drizzle, of course. So we've got 4 colors of our FolkArt Drizzle. This one is pitch black. Then we have a few of our specialties. We have New Penny, which is a metallic copper. We have Heart of Gold, which is gold metallic. And then we have our Gold Rush Gold Glitter. So you'll need these 4 colors. That's what's in your supply list. And I'm going to talk you through making a paint skin. I did make a note in the supply list to go ahead and already have your paint skin ready and dried for at least a day or 2. But it is totally okay if you didn't get a chance to prep. I will walk you through making a paint skin, and then we will show applying our paint skin onto our lamp and lampshade using Mod Podge Fabric. So we have a lot to get into here. This is, again, a paint skin that I poured on Monday. So I let this dry for a few days, and now all this paint in the pan is nice and dry. And the beauty of this is you can peel it right up, and then you'll have a sheet of paint basically to work with. So it's a great way to use pouring paint on a surface that you couldn't necessarily control your pour on, like this lampshade. This lampshade would be really hard to pour your paint directly onto and keep it coming in the same area. So that's why we are talking about this technique today, because it's something that I think is somewhat unique to plaid. And like I said, we call these paint skins. So this is dried paint in this pan, and we're going to use it to put on top of our lampshade. So like I said, it is totally fine if you didn't get a chance to pour your paint skin ahead of time. This is something you can do now, and then you can come back to the video later and talk, and we'll walk you through what you can do to actually apply it to your lamp. But I'm going to go ahead and grab a clean baking sheet here. So this is just a nonstick baking sheet from Michaels. You can get the Wilton brand at Michaels, and they're really great to have on hand. And you can get them in a lot of different shapes and sizes. You don't really need any specific shape or size, depending on the project you're working on. The biggest thing is making sure that it's nice and smooth. Some baking sheets have a texture on them, kind of like a diamond texture. And you want to make sure that the one you're using is completely smooth, because we want our paint skin to be really, really smooth. FolkArt Drizzle has a gloss finish. So if you were to pour this into a textured pan, that texture would pick up onto your paint skin, and we wouldn't want that. So to get started, I'm going to grab all 4 of our colors, and it's really simple. You're going to basically pour your paint into your pan. You can kind of do this however you'd like. And basically you just want to fill the pan with paint. Probably going to stick to the center of the pan because I know I don't need that much. And you'll see as we're doing this, we're using all these beautiful colors in the FolkArt Drizzle line. There are a ton more colors in the Drizzle line. If you look at michaels.com or go to your local Michaels, you can see all of them in store. We have neons and metallics and flash iridescence, and of course, basic, beautiful, bright colors. Okay. So we're going to now swirl this paint in our pan. And you're basically doing a paint pour in your pan. So it's really kind of a cool technique. And basically a technique, if you've done any kind of paint pouring before, you'll know the process. I get up really quick and get some of these messages off my Zoom. Okay. So again, we are just pouring our paint into our pan and letting it flow around in the pan. Now, this is just as with a regular pour, you want to make sure that you're getting the patterning that you want in your paint pour, and you don't want to do this too much. FolkArt Drizzle is formulated to stay separate. All the colors are designed to not muddy, but they will blend over time if you move your paint around too much. So I just like to cover the bottom of my pan here, and then we will let this dry and get into the fun part here. Again, let us know if you have any questions throughout the class. I'd be happy to answer them. Make sure KT is on with us.
Yep, I'm here.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so as you can see, this is basically a clean pour. So if you've done some paint pouring before, you'll know that there's two different techniques to do a paint pour. Basically, you can do a clean pour and a dirty pour. And a clean pour is when you just pour your colors on and swirl them around. A dirty pour would be pouring your colors into a cup, and then you would pour that cup down onto your project, or in this case, your baking sheet. So I went with a clean pour method because I like the really distinct bands of color that we have here. All right. Okay, so that is how you make a paint skin. This will be a nice sheet of paint after about 2 days. You'll let this dry really nice and well. I like to put my paint skins and pans kind of in the sun. It helps dry them really quickly. Depending on the humidity in your area, it might take more than a day, but you just want to make sure that this is completely dry, because when we start working with it, it's going to be very important that it is dry. If it's sticky or tacky at all, you're not going to be able to work with it. So you want to make sure that you've had plenty of time for this to cure. Okay, so like I showed you in the beginning here, now you're left with a giant pan of paint, essentially, that you can use as basically a decoupage paper, if you will. So if you have a Cricut or a silhouette cutting machine, you can definitely run a paint skin through it, so that if there's a design that you want to cut out and place onto something, you can use stencils to go mask over it and cut a letter out of this paint skin. There are so many different great things that we do with these. We wrap planters. If you have like a terracotta pot, you can wrap this paint skin around your terracotta pot. It's just a really cool, different substrate to work with. You know, when you think paint, you think putting the paint directly on the object that you're painting, but pouring it into a pan can be a really cool way to use it. Okay, so for our lamp, I have gone ahead, obviously, and made this one. This is our example. I'm going to turn this over to be our actual project. And we'll start with this blank shade here, but you can do this with any kind of lampshade. I like to keep it really nice and straight. There are some lampshades that have different angles, and they can be curved or something. You want to make sure that you have a nice flat angle on your lampshade. So that's one important thing. And if you are upcycling a lamp, you may end up buying a brand new shade. This is a lamp that we thrifted and then put the shade on. So keep that in mind as well. You can actually get your own lamp and then get creative with your shade. If there's a different shape or color that you want that would work best with your lamp, feel free to experiment with that. Okay, so what we're going to do for this is I'm going to grab my scissors. I'm going to set our example to the side here, and we're going to peel about half of this out of our tray. Just going to get just enough there. And I'm going to grab my scissors. You can use just regular scissors. Obviously, the sharper, the better. You're dealing with kind of a finicky sheet of paint. So you want to make sure you've got a nice new pair of scissors. And then what we're going to do is just hold our paint up. So we're going to get it up. We're going to do a rough cut along the edge. And it's okay if this is messy. We're just trying to get a nice section of our paint skin to work with. Set that to the side. I'm going to lay this down just like that. Okay, so now I am holding our dried paint skin, and it can get a little tacky. You'll notice if it hasn't totally cured yet. It's okay if it's a little tiny bit sticky. You just don't want it to be super wet, because otherwise you won't be able to peel it out of your pan. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to work a little better here at making a really nice straight line. Now you could also use a special scallop edge scissor or any kind of shaped scissors. I know Michael sells a lot of different really cool shaped scissors intended for paper crafting, but you could definitely use them for your paint skin and get a cool edge on it. There's just a lot of different ways to approach this. Now we're going to cut on the other side. We're basically just trying to make a nice long strip. Okay, now we have our strip there. Set this to the side. Again, you can use this for another project. It's also fun to look on the back of your paint skin because it's not always the same as what you see on the front. Slightly different look. And this is where we're going to grab our Mod Podge fabric. So I'm going to set this. You basically just want to lay your paint skin here. So there's our skin. I just laid it on top of my lampshade. And I just want to make sure that I'm getting the right area here. And we're going to kind of roll this back. And this is where we're going to need our fabric Mod Podge. So this is a great formula when you're using something like a fabric lampshade. It's just great to have around the craft room. And I'm using a little Mod Podge brush as well. These are our short bristled brushes. They're very useful because the bristles are so short, so it makes them a little bit firmer, especially when you're working on something kind of small and dense like this. They're really helpful. And I'm just going to spread a really thick, even coat on my lampshade.
Dylan, we have a question.
Yeah.
From Anita. They're asking, is this fireproof? These materials?
Mm-hmm. I have not actually thought about that. You know, we put a lot of LED cool burning light bulbs in our lamps here at Plaid. So I would not recommend using an incandescent light bulb with this. I can't speak to that. But I will say if you're using LED bulbs that don't get hot, this is totally fine. I do see the concern there.
Yes.
But I am
Kelly
not sure.
Also said, oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
Kelly also asked basically what you just said. Will the paint strip or melt or soften from the heat of a bulb? But if, yeah,
I would recommend not using, you know, a traditional incandescent bulb, but I will say that no, once this paint is cured, it's no more flammable than the object itself, you know? Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna get this laid down. This can be a little finicky, but once you lay it down, it kind of evens out. Those are really good questions. Okay, so I've got that half done. Now I'm going to lift up the other half. Yeah, please let us know if you have any other questions like that. Those are great questions to ask. And Mod Podge fabric is super thick and really durable. I'm using it here just because it's been formulated to work really well with a canvas. But where this product really shines is when you use it for wearable art. So if you're doing like Mod Podge fabric to fabric on a t-shirt, or If you're doing a pillow, it stays really soft and can be washed in the washing machine when you follow the curing instructions. So it's a great product to have for fabric in general. Obviously, a lampshade is not going to go in the washing machine. So I can understand where you'd think that there. If you don't have Mod Podge fabric, you could definitely use Mod Podge, you know, in the traditional formula, gloss or matte. It just wouldn't blend quite as nicely as Mod Podge fabric does. It's a really, really nice product to work with. And since it is, you know, essentially able to go in the dish or into the washing machine, it's extra durable. It's a lot more durable than our other basic formulas. So it's just good to have. Okay, so you see how easy and quick that was. I just did my diagonal there. And what we're going to do now is trim off our excess. We have a good amount here, and I'm just going to trim about a 1/2 inch around the edge. So I've got a little tab. I'm going to do that on both sides. Okay. So tabs on both sides, and then we're going to lean this upright here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to seal this in with our fabric Mod Podge. Yeah, and I just saw KT put in the comments, we are talking all about FolkArt Drizzle today. FolkArt Drizzle is a complete fluid art painting program. If you've ever heard of paint pouring and you didn't know exactly how to get started, FolkArt Drizzle is a great way to get started. It's a super fun product to use. And traditionally, you do paint pouring on canvases. So we're doing a bit of a different technique today by using paint that's dried on a pan and also on a lampshade. That's not usually a paint pouring canvas, if you will, but it's a really cool product to use, and it is exclusive at Michael's. So you want to make sure that you go to your local Michael's store and see all the beautiful product that we've worked on for you. Okay, so now you can see that looks really professional and clean. That's the biggest thing. You want to make sure that this looks nice and professional. That's a pet peeve of mine. I always make sure that my pieces are nice and finished. There's no raw edges. You definitely don't have to do that, but I think it just kind of gives it that extra special touch. Okay, so that will dry. You give that to about overnight and let that dry really, really nice and well. And this would be ready to display tomorrow. Now, obviously, for a lampshade, you need a lamp to put it on. So we'll talk about our little lamp here. And this is the part where you can get kind of creative. So like I said, we thrifted this lamp. And if you can tell, it's kind of faceted. You see the light hitting it there. And, oh, I see that question. Do you have to add a top coat? No. So FolkArt Drizzle is essentially an indoor-outdoor paint. So it has a sealer built into it. So you do not have to add any kind of sealer on top of this. So just make sure that you get a good coat underneath. I don't usually put my Mod Podge as a sealer over top because it has such a beautiful glossy finish, but that's a really good question. Okay, so back to the lamp. We've got our lamp here, and like I said, it's faceted. And what we've done is we've cut out some pieces of our paint skin and we've added it into the facet. So I'm going to flip it over to the back here, and we're going to facet the back. So this is pretty simple as well. We're just going to lay our piece down and we're going to get an idea of the shape that we want. Now, if you have a large lamp that is just a cylinder, you could definitely do the same thing again and basically take a giant strip of paint and do the entire lamp with it. You can also cut out little shapes and circles and triangles, all kinds of different things. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball this one. You could definitely grab a pencil and trace over your paint skin. It's easy to write on them. I'm going to kind of do this one a little bit more free form. And like I said, one of the greatest things about paint skins is you can actually put them through your cutting machine. So you use a lower tack mat and you can put this right through your Cricut, which is really cool to me. Okay, do a little more sizing here. So I'm doing my best to mimic this shape here. Yeah, let us know if you're crafting along or if you're going to use this technique on a different project. It's a really cool technique to do, and we like to do it a lot here because if you're, we're getting close to the holidays and Halloween and fall, and one of the great things to do with it is to use paint skins for pumpkins and make like jack-o'-lantern faces. So that's one of my favorite things.
We have another question from Catherine. How long does it take for the drizzle paint skin to completely cure and dry?
That all depends about the on the humidity of your home. However, typically we would say to fully cure, give your paint about a week. So if I had a project that I painted yesterday, I would probably wait until next Tuesday for it to hang it up on the wall. So that's a pretty good question. Like I said, I did make this paint skin back on Monday, and I wanted to pull it up because it is essentially dry, but it is, it's hard to talk about over Zoom, but you can tell it's still pliable and there's a little bit of moisture still in the paint skin. Once this really dries down, it would be flexible, but it would be much drier feeling and it would be a little bit harder to work with. So paint skins are a little bit different than projects, but generally you just want to be able to peel your paint skin up from your pan and not have any paint residue left in the pan. So that's a big part of these. Okay, so I'm going to grab some Mod Podge matte to add this to our lamp. And for this, you can use any formula of Mod Podge that you have laying around. Like I said, we were using fabric for our fabric portion, but you can also use your Mod Podge matte and gloss for the paint skins on the piece of decor themselves. And this wouldn't necessarily stick alone. So you definitely want to make sure that you have that extra element of a sealer. Brush that on. So it really is kind of like decoupaging with dried paint. It's really kind of cool if you've never tried it. Okay. And that is how you apply your paint skin there. So I want to know if anybody has any other questions. I know this is kind of an abbreviated project, but a lot of the work is the time that you put into the paint drying, and it's all dependent on what kind of project you're actually making and the color scheme that you end up going with, the shape of your lamp, all that kind of stuff. So I would love to know what you guys are making. So if we have any last minute questions, please ask. I would love to hear what you have to say about FolkArt Drizzle. It's a great paint line that we have again at Michael's, and we are going to be back with you, I know, in September and October with some more Drizzle classes. And if there's any project ideas that you'd have for those next classes, we'd love to hear those as well, because we have kind of covered the basis at this point. We've talked about all the different tools in the FolkArt Drizzle line, and I can kind of run through those if you guys would like, just so that if you're new to the Drizzle program, you kind of get an understanding of what we're all about. So let me grab some things. So one of the best parts of the FolkArt Drizzle program is all of the paint, obviously. And I talked about all the different formulas that we have. We have a lot of different kits in the line. If you're unsure of what colors to pick, or you don't want to necessarily grab a bunch of these larger bottles, you can kind of try it out by getting a paint kit. And this particular one is the metallic kit. It comes with 3 colors. that Heart of Gold, New Penny, and Silver Bank. We also have great neon colors, really vibrant. I just did some pumpkins that you'll probably see coming up in October with these neon colors that glow under black light. They're super, super fun. Like I said, we have a bunch of different glitters. We have this Gold Rush glitter, we have a pink and blue glitter, and we also have a black and orange glitter. And then, of course, like I was talking about earlier, we have the traditional formula for FolkArt Drizzle, which is offered in these larger 17.5-ounce bottles. So if you're doing a large paint pour or multiple projects, this is a great, great product to have because it gives you a ton of flexibility. You can do a lot of big projects with this one bottle or a ton of small projects with this one bottle. And it's just great to have on hand. So watching the comments here, let us know if you have any other questions. I think we're about to wrap up this class. I know if I saw a few people join. Yeah.
Yes. So we have a question about what is the best kind of tray to use so the paint skin can peel off easiest?
Yeah, absolutely. So for this class in particular, we used a nonstick baking sheet. So you want to make sure that it is specified as nonstick. If you're using a baking sheet that for whatever reason does not have a nonstick coating, you definitely want to make sure you use one with a nonstick coating. We've used like aluminum foil ones before, like kind of like the big turkey basting pans. Those don't work as well and they're really textured. So I like to have a nonstick that's super, super smooth. And you can get this at Michael's in the baking section. The Wilton cake decorating section has all kinds of these pans right at Michael's. If you're looking for drizzle, you can go ahead and stop in to the cake decorating aisle and grab yourself a pan as well. But you can get these all over the place for really inexpensive most of the time. You don't need anything fancy. Again, non-stick and smooth. So that was a great question. All right, if we don't have any other questions, I think that wraps it up for today. Thank you guys so much for crafting along with us this awesome lampshade and our lamp. We will be back in September and October for some more drizzle classes, and I look forward to seeing you then. So have a great day, everybody.